The No New Friends podcast is brought to you by Sandpiper Vacations. For the best in vacation plannings, just visit www.sandpipervacations.com. Let them know that the No New Friends podcast sent you. So we went live today from Animal Kingdom.
I you know what? I think I might have caught 1, 2, or 3 or 4 hours of that.
You caught a lot of it. Now, here's what happened though. I went into the whole experience going, you know what? I'm going to pace myself as far as how I hydrate myself, if you know what I'm saying.
Sure.
Right.
Sure. You're not, are you phrasing it like that because you're live on TikTok right now and you're not allowed to say
that is correct.
About alcohol?
That is correct.
That's kind of crazy.
Listen,
they're a little
based on our recent suspension, I am trying to be as clean as possible. Okay.
Yeah, and then he was talking about raw dogging on TikTok.
So many times, Darren. So many times. There were so many raw dog references. There was like 3 per hour.
Broadcasting from the Sandpiper Vacation Studios. It's time for the No New Friends podcast. The podcast for adults who love to laugh at adulting. The good, the bad, and the funny.
Okay, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's showtime. It's showtime.
That's right. You're listening to the No New Friends podcast, voted number 1 by our friends and family and number 3 by the Orlando Weekly Readers poll. We are the podcast for adults who love to laugh at adulting. Now, if you'd like to connect with us on all of our social media, all of our links are right there on our website, nonewfriendspodcast.com. While you're there, check out our really sweet merchandise and join our clubhouse. For as low as $2 a month, you can become a friend with benefits and watch us record all of these episodes live. Now, while you're on our website also, please subscribe to our YouTube and follow us on the TikTok, where we go live all the time. In fact, right now, we are streaming live in 2 different places. We are streaming live on the YouTube, where you can see all of us streaming all of segment 1. And then if you're a Patreon member, you can see us record the entire episode. But you can see me on the TikTok. Hello, the TikTok, because I am doing like a behind the scenes on the TikTok. My name is Scott. I'm the host. With me, as always, my very talented cast of characters, the scumbag reselling hoarder himself, Chris.
I'm Chris Yob.
Our Jewish American princess, Sarah.
Hello.
And sitting in for our emotional support gay, my firstborn, my pride and joy, my only son, Darren.
Darren!
Oh, he fits right in.
And our producer, Alex.
I thought I was your pride and joy.
So happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Happy Super Bowl Sunday. It's a big day today. Sarah, what are your Super Bowl plans? Are you going to be watching Taylor's boyfriend play?
No, I have zero interest in it. I'll probably be watching some kind of crime documentary.
So do you not like to watch the there's some sort of crown document. Do you not like the commercials for the Super Bowl?
I could care less. I'll see them the next day or something. I don't need to see them as soon as they air, and I do not need to sit through an entire football game to watch them.
But what about the Usher concert? Are you going to be watching the Usher concert?
Oh, that's a good point.
Scott, we had this conversation today. If you were listening, I like.
Obviously,
I was not. I was more concerned about my
gimbal.
He
wasn't. He really was. That's why I said this.
Hearts.
I listen to like.
Just press the hearts.
I listen to like 60s, 70s, and 80s. All right, so Usher, that it's really cool. It's a little nostalgic, but. I'm not going to sit through a whole football game to watch it.
Okay. All right. Chris, your Super Bowl plans.
I'm having a little Super Bowl party. I want to black out because I don't want to watch the Super Bowl this year.
Why don't you want to watch the Super Bowl this year?
2 teams I necessarily do not like. A team that beat us in the Super Bowl last year.
Okay.
A team that said, we weren't any competition this year, and we're right. So, 2 teams I don't want to see win. And also, if the Republicans are right, the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl anyway.
Okay.
Because the Pfizer plant, Travis Kelce, will win and promote Pfizer.
Okay.
The Pfizer vaccine.
So are you not?
I learned that one.
You're
today.
not into rooting for Taylor's boyfriend.
Oh, that's the only Nah, I'm into rooting for Andy Reid. He's just like it's impossible to not like him.
I'm completely bought into rooting for Taylor's boyfriend in the Super Bowl. I really am. I know a couple episodes ago I said I was annoyed. I am 100% all in on Taylor and Travis.
Yeah, a true football fan, the Chiefs beat your favorite team in the playoffs and you wish them the best.
They didn't beat my favorite team. The Bills beat my favorite team. And then the Chiefs beat the Bills, so I'm good.
Oh, so okay. My mistake. Yeah. So it works then. It works.
It works just fine. Darren, are you watching the Super Bowl?
I'm going to be honest. Until 5 minutes ago, I didn't even know who was going to the Super Bowl. With that being said,
you're going to be a great fill-in for Nick tonight.
Perfect, yes. With that being said, I was invited to a party, and I will be showing up to it. Late, but I'll be showing up.
Oh, what kind of party? A Super Bowl party?
Yeah, Super Bowl party.
Or is it like the Tonys party? Is the Tonys the same weekend?
No, Tonys aren't until like June.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So Valentine's Day is also coming up this week. What do we got going on for Valentine's Day?
Well, I had to remind you it was Valentine's Day and recording night. So
you did because I'm running out of time and I have not
we
bought
won't
anything
be
for Valentine's Day. Yeah,
we don't do that.
Alex,
we don't do that.
Like Rachel listens.
Yeah, no, of course not. Of course she doesn't. So, Chris, do you have Valentine's Day plans?
Yeah, you know what? I doubled down. Remember I talked about my whole Christmas fiasco about let's not buy each other any gifts this year.
Right.
Doubled down on that for Valentine's Day, and it didn't work again, actually. Actually, it went really bad, and now I think I have to buy her a car or something. I don't know what else to do.
Okay.
Dinner's definitely not going to be enough.
No.
Chocolate's not going to be enough. I can't play the whole I helped get us pregnant thing. That would go really bad. Right?
I helped us get pregnant. That's going to be your argument for getting out of anything.
It should be.
So essentially what you're saying is, hey, I got mine, so that was my contribution to the pregnancy.
I mean, takes two to tango, right, Scott?
Okay.
Right. It's a valid argument that is not valid to the pregnant mind.
Right.
Wow. My wife does listen to this podcast, so I have to tread lightly.
It's a good thing you have those crutches ready behind you because you're going to need them again.
Yeah, everyone's going to be taking out your knees.
So I guess actually even more so after this episode airs, I will have to do something very extravagant, Scott, for Valentine's Day.
Okay. Sarah, your plans for Valentine's Day?
Honestly, your guess is as good as mine at the moment. I'm not entirely sure. I am a major procrastinator.
Okay.
So I started thinking about gifts today. And it's what, the 7th? Okay, I have a week. That's not bad, right? I can figure something out in a week. So that's what I'm hoping for. Or maybe my husband will come up with something and surprise me.
Okay. Now, let me ask you a question. As the only woman in the podcast, there are certain days that are obligatory putting out days, right? Is Valentine's Day one of those?
Well, I mean, I would.
What Sarah's trying to say is, does the day end with a Y, Scott?
I mean, right. I was going to say, like, for me, that's every day, but I guess to some women that might not want to do that, yeah, I would think that at least on Valentine's Day, they'd put out Valentine's Day, birthdays,
Okay. All right. Darren.
Yes.
Your plans for Valentine's Day. I'm not going to ask if you're going to be putting out on Valentine's Day.
Okay.
You tell me though.
Oh yeah. So we have dinner plans definitely. I actually bought everything today, so I'm done taking care of.
Had a schedule.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, not as do not get the procrocrassation from my father.
No, don't get it from your dad.
No,
yeah.
No, but pretty well prepared, pretty ready.
Jeez, this is like this. Darren comes on for 5 minutes and he makes us all look like we're the kids and he's the adult.
I know, but he also shows how well I raised him, so I'm very happy with that. So, Chris, our suspension on the TikTok is over.
at approximately 12:17 today.
At 12:14 p.m. today. 12:14 p.m. We became unsuspended on the TT. We got out of TTJ. Yeah.
TikTok Jack.
Yeah. So we went live today from Animal Kingdom.
I you know what? I think I might have caught 1, 2, or 3 or 4 hours of that.
You caught a lot of it. Now, here's what happened though. I went into the whole experience going, you know what? I'm going to pace myself as far as how I hydrate myself, if you know what I'm saying.
Sure.
Right.
Sure. You're not, are you phrasing it like that because you're live on TikTok right now and you're not allowed to say
that is correct.
About alcohol?
That is correct.
That's kind of crazy.
Listen,
they're a little
based on our recent suspension, I am trying to be as like clean as possible. Okay.
Yeah. So, and then he was talking about raw dogging on TikTok.
So many times, Darren. So many times. There were so many raw dog references. There was like 3 per hour.
I had to,
and you just hear Darren saying, you cannot say that.
I'm a victim of circumstance. Okay. So I was very careful with how much water hops barley rice that I was consuming at the same time. OK, that was my mindset going into it until I hit that first cart at approximately 9:30 a.m. and Lewis and Sarah needed to go to Starbucks. I was like, oh, I'm going to hit this cart. And again, we got there at 9:30. We couldn't go live until 12:15. So there was a lot of time between 9:30 and 12:15 to go live. But I really want to get to Sarah and Darren's perspective because they were there with me all day as I was going live. And I was very conscious from 9:30 to 12:15 about, hey, this is all about you guys. We're going to do whatever you want. We did Flight of Passage because that's what Sarah wanted to do. We're like, this is our last hurrah of just having fun at the theme parks because now it's like serious.
It's like forever.
Yeah. This is
from now on. It's business. 12:14. It's business.
Exactly.
He did ask me like, what did we want to do? And so I told him, I really want to do Flight of Passage. Like, that's my favorite thing to do here. And he's like looking at the times and going, okay, but I don't know if we can do that because 12:15 we're on Navi River Adventure. That's what's going on.
Which turned out great. Sarah, you weren't on it. I don't know if you heard me, but Scott didn't know this, but as soon as you guys got on the boat, it just blacked out. And then there was nothing for a good 10 minutes.
I thought we got most of the ride on TikTok. Apparently we did not.
Not even
I'm going to be honest. I sat in that boat and I was sitting there just clicking my phone for the likes, not paying attention because I had my own adult beverages and multiple of them.
You can say
and
whatever
I
you
was
want.
just
You're
doing
not
like,
on TikTok. You can say what you
perfect.
drank.
I had plenty of tequila. And so I was just kind of looking around at everything because that ride, that was fun just to look at everything.
It was so funny when I was on that ride. And again, I had a lot of the water hops, barley, rice, and whatever the 5th ingredient is before then. So I thought the ride was like 2 seconds long. All of a sudden, I see the big animatronic at the end. I'm like, oh, crap, I got to focus in on this. I don't remember anything else from that ride. I really don't.
I remember that, but I looked down and my nails were glowing like crazy. That was the only thing I could really see, were my nails lighting up.
Okay. So, Darren, what was streaming with me or going TikTok live with me like today?
Just another Wednesday, to be honest. Your state didn't really start showing until we got to Restaurantosaurus and you started yelling at me for not getting you a drink.
Oh, yeah. That was.
I don't remember that.
Oh, yeah. Yes. There was that. And then Darren, the icing on the cake was at the end when you had the camera. We were all like, we want Darren. And then Scott starts yelling at you, or you're getting like, he just looked so sour when you guys were leaving. And and you were like, hey, so where can they find you? And Scott says, oh, well, maybe you can go over to Darren.com and see where Darren is.
I just that's really funny. I don't remember behaving that poorly. But again,
it wasn't
I don't
that
remember
bad until that moment.
Yeah. I tend to agree.
I don't remember going to Restaurantosaurus. I remember eating some really hot fries today.
Yeah, that was at Restaurantosaurus. Just sitting there.
And Sarah, where did you guys eat today?
Where did we eat? See, I don't. Oh, we went to Wawa after. I know.
So
we
you didn't eat at the
anything at the park.
No,
We didn't eat anything because today's Wawa Wednesday with the girls,
Oh.
and I just remember all I wanted was a sub so bad.
Mm-hmm.
So we skipped out on whatever pretzel or something that Lewis was going to get.
See, I could have sworn
I
you guys
also-
ate.
They-
You
they
ate
were
at
like-
Starbucks this morning.
We did have Starbucks, yeah, because I needed to have something in my stomach
I
before
thought you
I
guys
drank.
went to Pizzasaurus or pizza.
They were
Yeah, well-
ruling over Pizzafari.
We really were.
Yeah.
Pizzafari, yeah. And I really did want it, but then we remember the whole Wawa Wednesday thing. And so, yeah. So $60 later at Wawa today, I was completely full. It was fantastic.
It would have been less for you to eat at Disney.
No.
Well, there's 4 of us, remember?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chris, I had this plan. I was like, okay, so before we go live, we're going to do Everest. We're going to do Dinosaur because I don't really feel comfortable bringing the gimbal on because I hadn't really practiced with the gimbal.
And it showed.
I hadn't practiced with the gimbal. I was still trying to figure that out and all that. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, then you forgot that things die. You forgot that like things you use for like hours at a time die.
Chris, here's the thing is I've seen people stream all day at Disney.
Yeah.
And there's no problems. We were streaming for only 4 hours and then all of a sudden it died. I'm like, what?
Right. Yeah. You think it might have something to do with maybe they know what they're doing. Right. Just maybe.
Maybe. I mean,
Yeah,
this
it
was
very shaky after that.
This was my first stream. Okay. I had no idea, but now I've learned some stuff. I'm going to keep the gimbal plugged in the whole time. Just running off the Mophie. That way it's like running off of other battery until it can't. Great talk. So Sarah, you let your kids listen to the podcast.
Well, not typically. I don't, because I know that something's going to be said.
As my son says, that's crazy.
There are things I do not need them to hear that I say on this podcast.
Okay.
I'll wait until they're older.
That's smart. Yeah.
But you let them listen to the last episode.
Yeah, so I messed up and I let them listen because they were actually talking about Abby. And so I said, "Oh, Abby does this really cool segment on our podcast and it's called Word of the Week."
Right.
So, I had to start with Remy. So we let Remy's play through. We get to Abby and they're listening to it and they're all excited. And then they hear Abby talk about the cloud of vape smoke that's constantly around me, to which they don't know that we do. So
they don't know.
I had to they don't know.
I mean, that's not
that there's
something
any vaping.
Oh wait, they don't know about the vape. They just don't know about vaping in general. Like that, you guys.
They
vape?
know what it is,
How do you
but they
hide
don't
it?
know that we.
Lewis puts out some like cumulus clouds.
I know.
Yeah, but-
like there's a constant cloud of smoke around Lewis.
Yeah, there really is, but he actually does not do it in front of the girls
I think
at
every
all.
third breath of Lewis is smoke.
If you see it behind me or while he's recording, when you do, it's always like after the girls have gone to bed or if they're not with us.
Oh.
Truthfully. Yep. So I immediately had to say, "Oh, you guys know that I keep candles at my desk. Like I blow them out and sometimes the smoke, they see it on the screen and I just tried to be really quick on my feet. But then it got to the end of Abby's word of the week and that involved something with me and flowers and my friend Mary Jane.
Yeah, your Pookie, Mary Jane. Yeah.
My Pookie, Mary Jane. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I said. They were like, they listened to the whole thing and they were talking about, "Ooh, Pookie, we say that all the time." And then, it was, wait, Mary Jane? Who's she? We've never heard of her.
We've never met your friend Mary Jane. Who's that?
I immediately had to say, well, you guys know how much I love Spider-Man. Obviously.
Right.
So they're talking about that. That's what it's in reference to. So my kids will never listen to any segment of the podcast ever again. Too many secrets are spread.
Well, for the longest time, because we've had several episodes where we talk about the Santa Claus. and not
That's
the movie,
true.
Exactly.
the person. And I had to quickly escort Abby out of the car. Like I just dropped her off on
How old is Abby?
She's 11, but this was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, still.
Yeah, now
still.
she's telling me she's like, I know you're the fat guy. It's fine.
Well, both my girls know, they completely know about Santa Claus.
Mhm.
They do. Well, they don't know. I'm sorry. They believe in Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy. We do Elf on the Shelf.
Mhm.
She is still magical. They cannot touch her. Like all of those things. So I cannot talk about that in front of them.
Right.
What are you guys talking? Santa's real.
Darren, I am so sorry to have ruined that for you.
She's Jewish. She doesn't know what she's talking about.
Chris, are you going to let your daughter, your upcoming newborn daughter, listen to the podcast?
Yes. I cringe when my mom texts me and says, I saw someone post something on No New Friends with you on it. Because I'm very PC in front of my parents. Like, I'm very just like, I just grew up being very respectful. Don't really curse around them unless it slips. Like, it's just not something I do. So, like, when I'm talking about, like, having sex with Nick as a joke on the podcast, I'm like, I hope Scott didn't grab this clip and put it out to the masses this week.
The funniest thing is I put out that clip that you were saying that you were going to make your pregnant wife clean up sewage water. No, it's diluted. It's fine.
Yes, my mom did see that one and comment on that one. My dad saw one of the inappropriate. He thought it was funny. I don't know. Something. My mom's like a saint, so it's like it's hard to show her things like that. So in short, yes, I will be showing my daughter the podcast. She needs to grow up. She needs to grow up the right way and just be introduced to the stuff right on. Listen, I'm very transparent with the listeners. I don't really hide much.
No, you don't at all.
Yeah, I don't plan to hide much from her either. She's got it. Someone has to introduce her to the real world, right, Scott?
Right.
I'd rather it be. It's really scary. I'd rather it be us.
Darren, what's it like for you? Because we haven't really talked. I mean, you give me feedback all the time, which everybody knows that your feedback on the podcast means more to me than anybody's.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So
mine too. I always text Scott like, "What did Darren think?
What did Darren think of this?" Yeah, no, for real. So you've heard some way off stories. You've heard more about your dad than probably most kids, whether they're adult kids or not, have heard. How are you doing? How much therapy are you going through right now?
I'm going to be honest, learning about your baby ball that didn't drop, that's kind of...
That's where I got it from.
Ooh, that one was tough.
That may have been the funniest thing I've ever heard on this podcast. It's been a while since you've been on. Almost 200 episodes since you've been on.
Yeah.
That's the longest I've ever
show.
talked to Darren. You've only showed me him on FaceTime. I didn't even know if he was real.
Darren was on like episode 16, I think. Or no, episode 21, right?
21, yeah.
Episode 21.
Yeah, I think so.
So that was right before you started, Chris.
Right before, yeah.
Yeah, he was on like the episode right before you started. If Sophisticated Gentleman was in here, he could tell us exactly what episode
I know.
you were on and what episode he was on.
We just missed each other.
Yeah, exactly. What other things have shocked you?
Honestly, not much, and I think that's the shocking part.
Just so numb to all of this by now. Darren, what was your and of all of No New Friends history, your favorite segment, least favorite segment?
Ooh, that's a.
And it could be like a reoccurring segment. It could be just a segment we talked about.
My favorite segment, and I talk about this all the time with my dad, is Travels and Tribulations.
Yes.
R.I.P. Yeah, pour one out. And then my least favorite. There were so many just like one-off segments that nobody in this room started and just never finished.
Yeah, there were some dedication issues. I feel like potentially. Yeah, potentially.
Alex got that.
That's my favorite bit.
Why did Alex cut that?
Alex, cut that out.
You know what the story behind that is?
What?
two of my favorite podcasters on Big Cat and PFT on Pardon My Take. They always, like, when they have an interview, when they're doing an interview and like someone says like something they didn't want to say, like, oh, don't worry about that, we'll cut that in post. And they just keep the whole thing in. So I kind of ran with that.
I love that.
And my favorite thing is when Alec messages me and Scott and asks us, okay, do you really want me to cut this? So when Scott wants to cut something, Scott has to get really serious. But no, Alex, seriously, like, I'm being honest, please cut this.
Right. Sarah, questions for Darren.
I can't think of any. I feel like, remember I had a question that I said I wanted to ask him the other day, and I completely forgot. And you got on me about how we have a group chat. So now I guess if I ever have a question for Darren, I have to text.
It was something about
greetings from Gambia group chat.
Chris, our group chat is there's two different group chats. So Lewis, Sarah, Darren, and I are in the greetings from Gambia group chat. And then there's a tequilas and brew group chat with Sarah, Lewis, and myself.
That's very fitting. That's very fitting.
Yeah.
When's the TikTok live group chat gonna come?
Well, that's just that's just the NNF one, I think, right?
Yeah, I was just kind of answer my own question. That's just this podcast now.
Right. And then I just copied Darren. Hey, make sure you like heart.
So Darren, does Scott ever come to you with ideas for the podcast? Because you grew up the same way that he did, like listening to radio, kind of knowing it inside and out.
Yeah, it'll be less of him coming to me with ideas, and he'll do something on the podcast, and I'll hear it, and I'll immediately call him, or like something will be different, or something will change, and I'll be like, hey, what? Tell me your thought process with the change.
Yeah, like why are you doing this? Why are you doing advice at a restaurant, like stuff like that?
Yeah, correct. I will say one of the notable times of him coming to me and me giving him advice and him listening to it was actually After Dark. I gave him the idea for doing a second episode a week.
That is true. So Chris, the same day that Chris, you suggested it to me, I think is when I was hanging out with Darren and Remy. We were riding Tron, and then we watched the fireworks at Polynesian, and you had suggested the second episode, and I was on the beach at Polynesian drinking, of course. And I was talking to Darren and Remy about it, and Darren was like, yeah, no, you guys could definitely handle a second episode a week. I think that will work for you guys.
Yeah, it was a really good idea. I'm so glad you just single-handedly murdered it.
How did I murder it?
Because you're the boss. You said to stop.
Because it wasn't doing well.
I know. I'm just joking with you. I'm just trying to make things awkward.
No,
I really like to see you look serious in that dumb hat.
I'm wearing the dumb hat for TikTok. Okay, and it's getting noticed. God damn it! Oh, GD. Sorry, TikTok.
Oh gosh.
Oh, there's the ban again.
Yeah, you look like a middle-aged Make-A-Wish kid.
Scott, you don't get the extra hour with us next week, so be careful, okay?
No. Well, that's the thing. If we get suspended off the TikTok now, then Wednesday's lost next week. Like, I'm gonna have to cancel Valentine's Day.
Well, Scott called me the other day, and because I tried to scare him about not going, I sent him a text and said, hey, I have really bad news about Wednesday. And he said, no.
That's right.
And I was like, yeah. I just responded with, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it took him a minute to respond. And I thought to myself, oh, no, he's going to text Darren. He's going to say, we're not going. It's going to be a whole thing.
Oh, no, we were still going to go.
So I immediately, okay, fine. Well, you didn't text back for a minute, so I decided to text him and say, you're stuck with us for an extra hour because the kids don't have early release. So he called me immediately and was like, oh my God, yes. I just screamed. The whole family looked at me like I was crazy, and then turned around and said, so I'm thinking about doing this every Wednesday. You're in? I'm like, Scott, we've blocked off Wednesdays for you ever since Lewis had the audacity to try and get a haircut on a Wednesday. So we're never going to do that again. Wednesdays are blocked out for apparently now my second gig, which is TikTok, live streaming through Disney with Scott.
Yes. Yeah. You're booked now for every Wednesday. But no,
yes.
Chris, true story. I called her, and I've never, this is literally the first time that Sarah and I have ever spoken on the phone, because the range of emotions that I had over 2 minutes, where she's like, "Hey, Scott, I've got bad news for you." And I'm thinking, because I thought, oh my God, she's not going to be here. And then within 2 minutes, she's like, "There's no early release. You have us for an extra hour." And I literally yelled out loud, "Yes!" Like, kids are looking at me like, "What is wrong with you?" It's weird. Well, then today she's like, "Hey, I was wrong. Early release day is next week." She did this today, and I almost stopped dead in my tracks. I was so upset.
You actually did.
Yeah.
You stopped.
You
I
did
looked
stop.
next to me. You were 3 steps behind me.
The roller coasters of emotions today, Chris, were unreal.
So I was trying to kind of make the roller coaster of emotions a little more so. I don't know if you were noticing. I was trying to bait you into saying things that would tear the edge of getting banned, because I just thought it was funny. So I was trying to get you to say the M word, the midget word.
No, I'm not going to say that.
And so I said something about you like, "I love the sound of this," and I was like, "I love the sound of the Lollipop League from Wizard of Oz." I was like, what group of people? What group of people played them again? And then I was really trying to. I looked up famous gay little people to see if I could get you to say both in one sentence, both words in one sentence.
You know what? Here's the thing.
There aren't many.
When we're at the parks and I've got the phone in front, I can't really see the comments. So I can't even really respond to anything.
Time to get some readers. You just kept saying that. You're like, the damn son Lewis takes over is reading every comment. I hate to tell you this, man, but I want to hold that phone a little bit further away from your face and squint a little. Maybe
I get it.
Yeah.
Chris, I can't remember, but there was one comment you made while we were on Kilimanjaro Safari that I almost died laughing. I had to bite my tongue.
I remember I was trying to make you laugh because Scott wanted to be silent on Kilimanjaro Safari. So I was trying to, that's the fun thing about when you're not live and somebody else is just trying to break their character. Like trying to get Scott from saying, "We love those," to something else was a lot of fun today.
Right. Okay. You guys ready to play Jersey Man, Florida Man?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whether flipping a fan boat or crashing a truck, these states are filled with people who suck. So it's time for us to play New Jersey Man versus Florida Man.
Every week, Game Master Ryan brings us 2 news stories. One is from Jersey, one is from Florida. It is up to us to determine which one is which. Take it away, Ryan.
Hey guys, this is Ryan, coming to you from the No New Friends newsroom, located this week in my truck. Chris asked me to take him to the doctor this week since nobody in his family or his business has a vehicle with a load capacity high enough to get him there. Had a hard enough time finding him a new toilet that would hold his weight because he broke the last one with power tools. Yeah, right. Also, do you know how hard it is to find a booster seat that'll hold that kind of weight?
Oh.
Well, we just made it to his house, and hopefully I don't need to cut a wall out to get him out of there. Nope, looks like he can still walk. Glad to see he's still ambulatory. Geez, Chris, is that what you're going to wear? You get a free bowl of soup with that jacket? Anyways, I need to stop at the gas station on the way there.
Wow.
Chris, stop stepping on that. Hey, Chris, look at the gym across the street. Isn't that Nick walking in? Looks like he's carrying a salad from Panera for lunch. So you'll eat that kind of salad? Anyways, we're here in the waiting room of the doctor's office now. Chris looks really nervous. He's really on the edge of his seat. Well, I guess technically at his sides, he's on both edges of his seat and the seat next to him. What's Scott doing here? He's just sitting there in a corner watching that TV. What's he watching? Is he watching Roots? He keeps leaning back and saying, the good old days. He looks pretty tired. I guess the dog maybe woke him up in the middle of the night again, which is funny because typically it's Scott waking the dog up in the middle of the night.
Oh, my God.
Anyways, Chris, it's your turn to go see the doctor. Wow, I've never seen them have to use a tire pressure gauge to check somebody's blood pressure. Well, now the doctor wants to take your weight. Really? We're going to have to go out on the loading dock out back to take your weight? Well, the doctor said it's hard to put a number on your weight, Chris. He just kept giving me references. He just said roughly the same as a Ford Explorer. And he just showed me a picture of a hippo and said 2 of these. Seems kind of rude. Well, Chris, they tried to draw your blood, but it was too thick for the needle. You did a good job being brave. They wanted to give you a lollipop, but they're too afraid of the sugar. I'm glad I came along, Chris, to keep anybody from making fun of your weight. So while I get Fatty McFatterson loaded back up in the truck, let's get into this week's Florida Man in Jersey. And for our first story, a 75-year-old uses puppies to lure children to his home. And for our second story, an animal shelter is running a Neuter Your Ex promotion.
Wow. All right. So we've got luring puppies to their home and neutering your ex.
Luring children with puppies.
Okay. Luring children with puppies and neutering your ex.
I kind of blacked out. I'm sorry. I kind of blacked out because I've never heard somebody pronounce the word toilet in such a southern way.
Toilet?
I don't even toilet. Yeah, toilet.
Yeah, instead of toilet.
Toilet. Yeah.
So let's go, Darren. What are your thoughts? You're our guest.
We do have a lot of pedophiles in Florida, so I'm going to say puppies, Florida.
Okay. Sarah?
I'm going to agree. We think so badly of our state, but really we prove it every day. So I'm going to, I know. So I'm going to agree with Darren.
Okay, Chris?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go just with the power of averages again. And old people, Florida, 75 years old. It's got to be Florida.
Yeah.
There's just more of a chance.
Well, we have a foursome because I am saying that luring children with puppies is definitely Florida and neutering your ex is definitely New Jersey. So let's find out the answer.
So our first story is from Florida, where a 75-year-old man is accused of using his pets to lure children to his home, where he exposed himself to an 11-year-old. The man had this to say.
None of them were 12. They were all of age, I promise.
Gross.
Oh my God.
So that means our second story is from New Jersey, where for a $50 donation, an animal shelter will neuter a cat and name it after your ex. Oddly enough, they have a lot of cats named Scott. Now Scott has one more testicle than they do. And in other news, in Texas, a deer is trapped inside a house for 24 hours, causing all sorts of damage. The deer had jumped through a window and had been stuck for over 24 hours. The house was left a total mess with thousands of dollars worth of damage. Well, from what I hear from Scott, this deer is still a better house guest than Chris is. Anyways, that's it for me this week, guys. We'll talk to you next week.
Oh, so funny. Thank you so much,
That
Ryan.
was beautiful.
Chris, what's going on in your life? How is the pregnancy going?
Oh, great. It is like the greatest time in my life. My wife has been nothing but a pleasure. For Patreon members only, I have been living in hell. It is. I cannot wait until my wife goes to sleep at night. Now, you know what? I wish I really had some stories. I really do. But this pregnancy, I almost feel bad. And Emily and I both have this feeling of like, I understand now where this whole white guilt thing comes from. But like, we have pregnancy guilt.
Okay.
We have pregnancy guilt because the pregnancy is going just so well. So like, Emily will come home from work and she's like very on course with another one of her coworkers, and her coworkers, oh yeah, I threw up in the bushes today and this and that, and Emily's like eating like McDonald's, talking to her when this girl's saying she can't even keep anything down. Emily's just like, oh, I'm sorry to hear about. Like, it's like she comes home and it's like this pregnancy guilt that we have because everything's just going so great, everything is so healthy, everything is going so good that it's like almost like she forgets she's pregnant sometimes, and like she starts to complain about things like, oh my gosh, I'm gaining all this weight.
It's normal.
You have to remember, we have to remember you're pregnant.
Right.
Like you're growing a child in you. Or she's like, I'm so tired early. I can't, I'm out of breath more easy. I'm like, yeah, it's, I wish I had your same excuse, but I don't. But it's because you're pregnant. I think I've talked about this before. I have been experiencing some of the same symptoms as her: weight gain, out of breathness, while going up steps and stuff like that. So no guilt on my end because I feel equally as bad as she does. But yeah, it's really not bad. Did I tell the story of the panic attack that I had in the I don't think I did, in the doctor's office when we thought that the baby was very sick?
No,
I don't think I told the story.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I don't think I told the story.
You may have told me.
No. I think I told you. I didn't tell it on here. So this is a good story. This is all like I'm learning what it's like to be a parent very, very quickly.
Right.
Just the unnecessary stress.
I should have pulled out.
So
I'm right here.
Yeah, his jokes don't land as well when Darren's on.
They land better.
Let's change the topic real quick. Scott, real quick, just a cleansing of whatever we're talking about. Do you remember the night that Darren was conceived?
Yes, it was during Hurricane Floyd, actually.
Please.
Yeah, he's a Hurricane Floyd baby. The hurricane never actually hit us, but
but there were flying projectiles that night. Anyway, so I will finish the joke.
So your pregnancy's going great, though.
Yeah, hey, great. So, so we thought.
Okay.
Right? So I have a little ADHD baby growing in there.
Okay.
Like it's like just bouncing around, can't concentrate on, can't get comfortable, just bouncing around. It's just really cute because you get to feel kick all the time.
Sure.
Not so great for an ultrasound, believe it or not. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
the baby's kicking. Like you felt the baby kick and all that?
Oh, yeah, I did.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
The first time you do that, it's like really cool.
Can't get enough.
Yeah.
Can't get enough.
Until the middle of the night. And then like you're like trying to cuddle and then you get kicked in the side and it wakes you up.
Yeah, no, that's not great.
No.
And you know what else isn't great is when Emily's like, oh, you want to feel her kick, and then I just holding her stomach for 5 minutes, like, oh, sorry, she stopped. That happens way more often than not. So anyway, so we go for this hour-long anatomy scan where they do all the measurements and stuff. My baby's tall as shit, believe it or not.
Tall.
Yeah.
When you say your baby's tall, is that compared to you? Or
no, she's like in like the big percentile. I don't know how that works. Is 1 percentile good or 99 percentile good?
99.
Okay, so like she's like the 70 percentile for like length of stuff. Although a lot of her stuff is in that, but then like that biggest bone in your body, what's at the femur, right? That's like in like
the biggest bone in my body is the
probably your pinky finger. But yeah, like the one that's supposed to be the biggest is like pretty small. So she might be very disproportionate. I'm not sure, but looks like she's pretty tall. So anyway, so we're doing this anatomy scan. So we go to our follow-up appointment a week later, and the doctor, who was like super nice sounding, she's like reading everything off. Oh yeah, the anatomy scan looks great. Let me look over the notes at the bottom. And she's like, oh, it looks like the doctor said that she could have a cleft lip, and they want to take another look at her heart. I was like, oh wow. My God, like, this is the worst news. What do you mean everything looks good? I don't care how big her fibia is.
That escalated
if she's a cleft lip and a heart condition, right?
Right.
But she's in the 70th percentile and length. I don't what?
The length is fine. Everything's fine.
So anyway, so then we had to go back for a follow-up appointment. And in the notes, of course, what I'm not paying attention to is it says, could be technical issue, right? Could be that we didn't get the right photo. But yeah, I'm thinking the worst. I'm thinking I'm going to have a baby with a cleft lip and a heart condition. So we go back for a follow-up where they take the pictures they need. Then they put us in a conference room. I said to the ultrasound tech, I was like, when are we going to find out the results? She said, oh, right after this. She walks us down to a conference room. And I've seen lots of movies where they go to conference rooms and they are never
conference rooms are good. Never good.
No, never. It wasn't even a comfortable one too. Right. It wasn't like it was small.
Yeah,
it was huge for me.
You're either getting
it
was huge for you. You're either getting fired or told you have a week to live.
Or telling you have a cleft lip, in my case.
Right.
Or telling your kid has a cleft lip. That's expensive, too, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So anyway, heart condition sounds pretty bad, too. But so we get sat down in the conference room, and now we're waiting for the doctor, which feels like forever. We waited 5 minutes for the doctor. It felt like 5 hours.
Okay.
Doctor comes in. Okay. The three of you, I need you can answer this. If you're a doctor and had a patient come in to see if their unborn first child had a cleft lip and a heart condition, what's the first thing you'd say when you come in?
Your child's fine.
Right.
That's the first thing.
Yeah. No brainer. Like I'm not a medical professional. I would never. I guess I could be.
I know one.
Just watch a couple classes on YouTube. You'll be fine.
Let me put my scrubs on real quick so I can tell the rest of the story. So should I bring a friend into the room to get in character? So anyway.
And you have to call simple things like the ER, the ED, and instead of skin, say epidermis, and all the technical terms. Yeah.
Lewis, stand up real quick. So anyway, it's a little joke for people who know that now. So the doctor comes in and starts explaining why we're there today. I was like, wow, this does not feel good. It's like the reason I had you guys come in, sometimes you're not get a clear image. and we call you in to get confirmation. And that's what we did today. Like, he's explaining exactly everything I already know, like why we're there today. Like, I didn't just come here to hang out, Doc. Like, I know why I'm here. Because so we took another look, and then he sits down, crosses his legs, takes out his little clipboard, say, everything looks fine. It's like, why would you delay that answer for so long? I had 3 panic attacks in the matter of like 45 seconds because it was coming in waves, right? Like he comes in, I'm like, okay, looks, doesn't look concerned. And then he starts explaining things like, he's giving me the bad news. And then it sounds good. And then he sits down, does the whole leg crossing. Well, this guy's serious. I don't know how all doctors can cross their legs that they don't have any testicles. You ever notice that?
They don't. Medical school took those. Yeah.
Like they all can do it. It's crazy. So, does that whole thing, double hand folded on the knee, has the glasses down on like the nostrils of his nose.
No,
like,
that's serious.
Business.
Yeah.
And then he just looks over his glasses. Yep, everything's fine. Like, you didn't have to do it. Why'd you even sit down? Like, you could have just told me this and I could have left.
Right.
Just knock on the door, open up, she's fine, and then I can go. No, that was, and she's not even born yet, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't even have to worry about this thing 99% of the day. And sorry, I said thing like I'm a Democrat. I'm sorry. It's a baby.
Oh boy!
So I don't even have to worry about this baby yet. Right. But stop saying that. When she is born, I do have on my registry already like 7 different like heart monitors. I have a camera that watches her, make sure she's breathing. She has like an outfit that looks like she's getting CGI'd with all the X's and circles on to monitor the breathing. Like, she's gonna get a sleep score each night. Sent to my phone. I got a little heart monitor for her foot. Yeah. And so I'm ready. I'm not worried at all. I'm stress free.
Oh boy.
You know?
It doesn't stop either, right. Chris, by the way, because I took our oldest to the doctor because she had a sore throat, a little bit swollen in the neck. We were concerned about the lymph node.
Oh gosh.
When we get there and the doctor looks at it and goes, okay, you can eat and you can, swallow and everything. It just hurts when she moves her neck. She goes, I'm going to give her antibiotics. And if those don't work, she's got to go to the emergency room like right away. And then it could require some kind of IV and then surgery. And I'm like, how did we go 0 to 100 that fast? So we're praying that the 5 days of antibiotics work.
Chris, like I told you, the worry never ends. I mean, you're all worried. Okay,
this is why you drink so much.
Yes, this is why I drink so much.
I'm practicing.
Yeah, but it starts when before the baby's born. He's like, okay, is everything gonna be okay? Is everything gonna come out okay? And then you got years 1 through 2. How's everything gonna go there? Are there gonna be any problems here? And then they get to 18, and you think like, okay, by the time they're a teenager, it's gonna be fine. No, then they're driving. And then they turn 18. It's like, okay, for the last 18 years, did I do the right thing so that they make the right decisions? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a nonstop worry.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So good luck.
Thank you. That's why I got this stuff. I have to take 2 a day. Alex, I think I joked about death too much this episode. You ever just feel like a cleanse from No New Friends?
Oh, yeah, always. Every Wednesday after I get done editing the podcast, I need a cleanse.
Yeah, just like a little bit of family-friendly content, right?
Something wholesome.
You have a recommendation?
Our other podcast, the Disney History Podcast, I think would be a great alternative.
Do I have to like Disney?
It helps.
All right, well, because I love Disney.
Well, that's really good. That's a good start.
Where can I listen to this podcast that I record with you?
Well, our podcast comes out every Tuesday, but if you want, you can also go to our YouTube channel, Diz His Pod, and we have all of our past episodes up on there. We also on all social media under Diz His Pod. We do post every week, and we also have our own Patreon, just like No New Friends.
Really? I'm going to have to go check this podcast out that we do together.
Yes, I would love if you listen to our podcast once in a while.
Alex, what do you got coming up this week on Diz His?
Well, this week we actually had Lewis from the Nerd Archive podcast, aka Sarah's Boo Thing. We had him on to go over the Avengers history, and it was a really fun episode. Chris Lewis and I went over the Avengers history, and man, we went long. It's going to be a long episode. I haven't even started editing yet, and I'm looking forward to re-listening to it, but it's going to be a long episode. So if you like Marvel, if you like Avengers, definitely take a listen to that. Releasing on Tuesday the 13th.
Thank you so much, Alex. Hey, Chris, you got any Cliff Notes?
I do.
It's been quite the show. A lot of stuff's happened, so nothing can stop this little boy from recapping the day the Chris's Cliff's Notes way.
Scott had his biggest mistake on the podcast tonight, which was his middle-aged TikTok live streams. Scott asked Sarah what her plans were for Valentine's Day this year. Now, for those listening at home, we actually had to cut that whole response out because it was so graphic. It made 50 Shades of Grey look like a Dr. Seuss book. Scott doesn't say the word beer on TikTok because he's too afraid to, because he thinks TikTok will censor him, which is pretty ironic since TikTok is run by a country who runs sweatshops. Now, I haven't heard anything that ironic since literally anything that Mary has ever said.
Wow. Oh, boy.
My gosh.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
Scott's stream from Animal Kingdom today was a little shaky. However, it was still his strongest stream he's had since he was 35.
It's a long time ago.
Sarah revealed that her and Lewis's kids don't know that they vape or smoke. Meanwhile, Scott has his 10-year-old delivering beer to him while podcasting.
That's true. My daughter is my bartender.
Scott said that his daughter knows a secret about Santa and told him, quote, "I know you're the fat guy," end quote.
Yes.
So does everyone who saw you in the mirror today on TikTok Live.
I did go in the mirror. I don't know why I went in the mirror. Someone told me, go in the mirror.
You stayed there, too. It was
Did I really?
Long shot.
I don't remember much of today. I really don't.
Scott got mad at Sarah because she said they were continuing early release. He got mad because the phone call actually cut out. He thought that she said they're continuing catch and release. Thanks, Obama. I didn't know if you'd understand that one. It's an immigrant joke.
Oh,
anyway.
Wow.
In Jersey Man versus Florida Man, Ryan talked about how a man used puppies to lure children into his house. I've never seen Scott jot down a note that quickly in my life.
Oh.
Rachel, we need another foster dog.
You son of a bitch.
And lastly, I'd like to thank Darren for coming on the podcast tonight. And I would also like to congratulate him for moving ahead of Mary for most screen time on this podcast. So congratulations.
Oh my God.
It's an honor.
And those are my Cliff Notes.
It's been quite the show. A lot of stuff's happened, so nothing can stop this little boy from recapping the day the Chris's Cliff's Notes way.
Thank you so much, Chris. So, Darren, what do you got coming up? Where can our listeners find you? Darren.com?
Darren.com. Yep.
We have to clip that.
They can follow me on Instagram, Darren_Maffei.
Okay.
Pretty much it. Yeah.
Oh, so you can email Darren_Maffei. Where?
No,
what's that?
Instagram.
What?
Instagram.
Oh, Instagram. You can follow Darren_Maffei, right? At Instagram.com. Is that how that works? I don't know. I have no idea how that works, the Instagram. Sarah, how can our listeners find you? What's your IG?
Well,
or your TikTok?
My TikTok is super.sarah.94. And my vintage clothing page on Instagram, old.soul.thrift. Please get this stuff out of my house.
Chris, where can our listeners find you?
Oh, really, really unique name, at Chris Yob on Instagram. I want to start posting more on there, connect with you guys even more so. It's not private, so anyone can follow me.
You still have the at the Scumbag Reselling Hoarder on Instagram too, right?
Yeah, but I'll probably just do the at Chris Yob one. It'd be easier to just Yeah, probably easier to less the better, Scott.
That's true.
We don't
That's
wanna,
true.
Yes, we don't want to overdo it.
Right. You can connect with all of us. All of our links are right there on our website, nonewfriendspodcast.com. While you're there, check out our really sweet merchandise, and you can join our clubhouse. Become a friend with benefits. Watch all of these episodes as we're recording them live from start to finish. We always stream the first segment on YouTube, the rest of the show on the Discord for just the Patreon members. Join our TikTok. Just follow us. All of our links right there on our website.
You're on TikTok?
I'm on TikTok, yes. And if you listen to us on Spotify, Apple, any of those platforms that have the rating, please leave us a review, a 5-star rating. We appreciate that. It really helps us out. On behalf of Game Master Ryan, our producer Alex, our guest Darren, Sarah, Chris, Nick, I'm Scott. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.
Oh, we need a bye-bye, bitches.
No new friends, just the old and the bold. In the world of games, we're the ones who hold. Scott, Chris, Sarah, and Nick, a tale to be told. Welcome to the podcast where adulting unfolds. Where adulting unfolds. Where adulting